So as is customary on this channel, we've got through a good chunk of the season, and while it hasn't been going too badly, it definitely hasn't hit the heights of the previous seasons, I'll say that much. The signings definitely haven't finished either, so we'll get you all caught up on those, and then we'll get into today's game. Also, as a quick side note, you probably noticed already, but I have got a new microphone, which actually, looking at my OBS window, looks like it's attached to the top of my border. That's quite cool. But yeah, this episode and the next one were both actually recorded and in the process of editing as this shown up, so you're going to have to deal with my old mic for a couple of episodes yet, but don't worry, I'll be able to give you that sweet ASMR content sooner. I actually hate the fact that I've just said that. Let's just get into it. So yes, it has been a very exciting start to the season. We've played through about 3 months since you were last here, so we've obviously got quite a bit to catch up on. I'm going to go through those clips with you first, and then we will come back to the present day for today's opponents, which will be revealed after the recap, I suppose. So let's get started on that, and I will be back with you soon. So the first little bit of bad news in the recap, Liam Shepherd, who we were looking at in the last episode, has decided to go to Matlock Town instead. It was an easy choice to make. He's getting £400 a week. I don't think we were even offering him half of that, so can't really be too annoyed at him for going into them, but I would have quite liked to have him as part of our team. I don't know how many of these are going to end up actually signing for us, but we have got loan offers in for 3 players. Darryl Pritchard is a right back pretty much. He's pretty good. I mean, like if I compare him to Tanadre, yeah, I mean, he's just a much more complete player than Tanadre. Tanadre's got good defending, good aerial, and that is pretty much it. Pritchard would be a pretty massive improvement overall, I would say. Just looking at the attributes, he's just much better at almost everything. So pretty glad to be having him join the squad, potentially. No wages either. Lee Wilson is defensive midfielder. I wasn't 100% sure that I was going to be putting an offer in for him, but he is just very good. The loan stipulator should be playing as defensive midfielder, but to be honest, as a deep line playmaker back there, I think he could do a fantastic job for us. You know, 15 passing, 13 vision, 12 work rate, technique. He's got the flair, decisions, first touch. He could be an absolutely fantastic find for us. And Ty Brotherton, to give us a little bit more right wing depth, I'm thinking. He hasn't really got the finishing to be playing up front for us, with only 9 finishing. But as a right winger, with 12 crossing, 12 dribbling, 14 acceleration, 15 natural fitness, 13 pace, good teamwork, good work rate, I think he will also be a very good option for us. I have been looking at a few players to sign, but because obviously I've still got loan spots open, thought I might as well get as many in as I can on loan where I'm not going to be burdened with the wages. And then we'll potentially maybe be going in with some deadline day deals to, you know, sign people properly when we can maybe get them for a little bit cheaper. Or good players who are not really willing to come to us for a reasonable price at the moment, but give it a couple of months when they still haven't got a team and they might be willing to lower their demands, like Callum Archer and Dejani Birchall were when they came to join us. So Dylan Helliwell is actually going to be leaving us. He's going off to join Kings Langley in the Southern League Premier Central. He's had a pretty good career here. He had a few very good seasons with us. Managed 4 goals and 6 assists and a 7.07 rating over 30 games in his first season. Another 30 games in his second with only 4 assists. And to be honest, it's just sort of been declining since. I mean, he played 17 games last season, that is, in the first half of last season. Although quite a lot of those were sub-appearances, yeah. And he was struggling to keep up. And then he went down to Kings Langley, who obviously is going to now permanently. And to be honest, wasn't very good. So they've sent him back to us, and now we're deciding they're going to pay £1,000 for him. So we should let him go. He did very well when he was, you know, a key part of the club. So I am a little sad to see him go, but we have definitely moved past him at this point. You know, stats aren't great for where we are right now. They were definitely more for, you know, the Northern Premier League Division 1. Harry Kant has turned down offers from Torquay and Beaconsfield. So I'm going to offer him out again. Hopefully we can try and get 1,000 for him. He'll be off sooner or later. So the first acceptance comes in. Darryl Pritchard, the 20-year-old fullback from QPR, is going to be joining us. It's going to be a regular starter at fullback. I mean, we'll see how that goes. But he'll play enough to be classed as a regular starter. I don't know if I would call him the regular starter. But he is better than Tanadre. So as long as he plays okay, I'm more than happy for him to be taking that spot. He gets a B- rating, expects him to be a regular star. He's a star player who can still improve, so I do think he is a good addition. On the bad news, I've just realised Ty Brotherton's gone to Morecambe, who are in League 2. Can't really fault that decision, I suppose, as annoying as it is. But Lee Wilson has also gone to Gateshead. Aren't they in the National League? Yeah, they're in our division. We just played Gateshead. Of course, they're in our league. Sorry, it's been a couple of days since I recorded that first match. and had apparently completely forgot about it. So not only did they steal 3 points from us in that game, they've also stole a defensive midfielder for us for the rest of the season. So that's a little heartbreaking. I really did expect him to be a starter for us. So it looks like it's back to the loan list I go. And speaking of the loan list, I did also actually have an offer in for Steve Launter here. He's down as an attacking right mid. I'm going to assume that's an inside forward because, I mean, looking at his stats, he can't cross the ball, he can't take corners, he's got quite a few ones in there. But 16 pace, 16 agility, 15 flair, good passing, good technique, and perfectly reasonable dribbling, finishing and first touch. I think putting this man up as an inside forward on the right wing could be incredible for us. He hasn't got any other offers in so far. Torquay obviously interested. They're not having a great start to the season so far, but obviously we're only a couple of games in at the time that I'm recording this. But yeah, I do think he could do a good job for us and just give us, that final little bit of wing depth that we might need for this season. So we're going to have to wait and see if he accepts. And there you go, Steve Launton is joining the club. It does give us 3 options on the right, but I suppose we've also got Agbenone who can play striker and left wing, so we've got more than enough cover across our 2 positions now. He's only just signed for Swansea for 100,000. Kind of tells you the man's got some potential, potential League One standard. Maybe not quite the potential Swansea think he's got, but I think he's going to be very good for the squad. And it was probably a good idea to bring an extra bit of wing depth in because new signing Gareth Williams is out for 5 to 6 weeks, which is not brilliant, but at least now we can cover him. So it's not quite the £1,000 that we were looking for Harry Kant, but he's going on loan to Tadcaster down in the Northern Premier League Division 1 East. He's going to be their first choice goalkeeper, and they're paying all his wages. So I'm quite happy for them to have him for the season. His contract does actually run out at the end of this season, so it's very unlikely he's going to be playing for us ever again. But thank you for your service, Harry, and I wish you all the best. So it's the FA Cup 4th round qualifying draw today. Let's just see who we get. The Vanarama National League teams are coming into the competition, so we are in. We've got 69 teams to draw. Nice. Let's draw all teams. And we get Hereford in the Vanarama National North. How are they doing this season? They are down in 14th. And if I look at their division, where are they expected to come? Just so we can see if that's an overall underperformance. Expected to come 9th. So they are a good side, but they are in the league below us. So we're probably going to be okay with that. So I've been looking at Bobby Dunn here to potentially join our midfield. 23-year-old, not got a contract. He's just been released by Sheffield Wednesday. Good first touch, technique, teamwork, vision. If I compare him to a Morehouse, he's probably the best fit because he's sort of a Mazzala. And he's very much just an upgraded version of Morehouse. Like obviously physical speed, vision and attacking, they're pretty identical, but Bobby Dunn has also got better defending, mentals, area and technical. So I think he's going to make a pretty good addition and could also play centre mid, which is another role that we're playing quite a bit at the moment. We've been switching between the two this season depending on who is available. If you look at attributes, I think it's pretty much a wash, isn't it? I mean, Morehouse is slightly better physically, but Bobby Dunn has got him beaten in pretty much all other departments. So I think he's going to be a pretty good addition to the squad, and he has accepted to join. £250 a week. He turned down an offer from Chester FC in the Vanarama National League North to join us. I'm pretty glad about that, and I think he could be a good part of our midfield this season. Also, just some comparison's sake for this team, we're looking at the salary per year here for each club. And as you can see, Notts County is spending 1.5 million a year on salary. Fylde 1.8, Woking 992. We are all the way down at the bottom, 174,000, 120,000 below the next highest person. We almost spend half of what the next lowest paying team is in Kidderminster Harriers. So yeah, that does sort of just back up how this could be quite an issue. So I'm not 100% sure that we need another centre midfielder, but I'm going to be signing Alex Woodyard as well. He's 34 years old, so he's a very old head for the team. But he's on relatively weak wages. I mean, just look at those mentals. He's more than good enough technically. He's a bit lacking physically, but his mentals are nuts. Like great aggression, determination, leadership, work rate. He's just going to be a great person to have around the dressing room. And he's more than good enough to play in the team. We've obviously just signed a bit more of an attacking midfielder, so I wanted to throw another defensive one into the mix as well. I mean, he's had a massive career. I mean, he's only played up as high as like League One, but as you can see, he's been a pretty consistent footballer. 529 overall appearances, only 16 goals and 15 assists, which I would say is a little bit lower than I expected, but assists aren't really tracked before the game started, so I can't judge him too much on those, I suppose. But yeah, I'm going to have him join, and I think that pretty much completes our midfield. We are still potentially looking for another right back, I want to say, maybe another left back. But apart from that, I think we are set. It's actually quite a funny little turn of events just. I was sat here watching YouTube and just had a sudden thought thinking, next time I load up Football Manager, I should really just sign Jack Waddle for the rest of the season. He's not going to play loads, but I'm sure he'll get a few games. We might as well sign him for just 1 year on a decent little contract. Loaded the game up, hit continue once. Jack Waddle leaves the club. Oh, okay, well, I suppose we have just signed another midfielder, so it's not massively the end of the world, but it is just a little funny the timing of him deciding to leave like that. So, okay, now we're all up to date with the comings and goings of the club so far. We've signed a lot of new players. We've obviously signed quite a few new players, so let's have a look at how they've been getting on. And to be honest, I expected to be in the relegation zone, so with that in mind, things have been going pretty well. I mean, we're definitely not as dominant as we have been in previous years, but I don't think that's a bad record, personally. We've played 15 matches in the league so far, and as you can see, we've won a reasonable amount of them. And I mean, the game against Gateshead, we were quite unlucky not to get anything from that at all. I think that realistically should have been a 2-2 draw, and was very nearly one of 3 2-2 draws in those first 4 games. But either way, after that game, we managed to beat Bromley 2-0, pick up our first victory of the season. Clark and Agbenone managed to get the goals here. Let's quickly watch them. I think the first goal in this was very strange, I seem to remember. Archer gets the ball through to Agbenone, yeah, and then he walks through it, and he just sort of loops the ball to the back post for Clark to put in. I'm not going to complain, it worked, but it was definitely not what I expected to go on. And then Williams picks up the ball on the inside of the area, and he manages to get it through to Clark, who gets fouled, but Agbenone, is that Agbenone? Yeah, managed to score at the back post, I thought it was. Pretty good result there. And to be honest, we almost beat Dagenham and Redbridge as well. A 2-2 draw here. Archer and Clark got the goals, but their last goal was a little bit fortunate, so we're going to give it a watch. I say we deserve something. They had a 2.82 XG to our 0.79, but it didn't feel quite as much as that. Archer scores a beautiful free kick in the 23rd minute from just outside the area, and then they have a long ball go forward at the wing here, and Everett runs onto the end of it, puts it into Thompson, who slots it past. Is that Jackson? It's not Jackson in goal, is it? It's Wright. Managed to switch over. Then Bojan gets to Archer for another lovely pass over. It just takes one touch, smashes it in the far side on the volley. And then, as we all know, when a defensive highlight starts off like this and they end up scoring, you just know disaster's about to happen. It gets to clear, back straight into one of the players' faces, and Brooks manages to beat Wright. But, a very good finish, I'm not going to lie, but it was very frustrating to concede that in the 82nd minute. And in the next match was a 2-2 draw with Notts County, and this one very much followed the same trend, to be honest. Started off in the first half with Talon Shepherd redeeming himself after a lovely Archer free kick to the back post and managed to header it into the far side off the post. Before Notts County got a nice little tackle and a great little through ball here, put Walker in for the sweatiest FIFA goal you're ever going to see. Absolutely disgusting. Then we had somewhat of a strange little attack here where we're just both of our attackers are comfortably ahead of their defender, and Wielden managed to nab his first goal for the club before, I said it last time, I said it again. When they're going to score, and this is the position that you see the defender in, just gifting goals in the last minutes. Absolutely heartbreaking. Hamblin not exactly showing himself in a great light there, but overall a good draw. I went into the match expecting us to lose, so coming away with a draw, I'd have snapped your hand off beforehand, but I ended up feeling a little bit disappointed. Clark with his first bad performance of the season, but Wielden obviously managed to come on and nab a goal himself. That was followed up with a 2-1 loss to Rochdale. A little bit disappointing, especially with Clark obviously performing pretty badly as well. But there was some pretty decent goals here. As you can see, on all of these, we're getting massively out XG'd. Oh yeah, this was Hamblin puts in a terrible little pass there to nobody. But Olafunwa manages to just give it to Agbenone, who comes in with a beautiful little cold shot round the keeper, though, I will say. But then they managed to get a nice little cold pass off themselves here. Get a bit of space for himself, and he just pops it in for Brennan to header in past the keeper. Before in the 71st minute, we end up giving them another goal. Stutter managed to break his way through, and just a lovely placed finish past the keeper to secure Rochdale the 3 points. And then up next we had two back-to-back 2-1 victories. Very happy with both of these. First we had Maidstone come to town. This was one of the first games I felt we were pretty dominant. Started off with a very nice Archer free kick. He's getting his free kick goals in this season already. Before a Bojan corner goes to the back post and Clark managed to header it in. And then early in the second half, basically the same corner comes in, but it falls to Carson outside the box, who just rockets it in past the keeper. A very good goal to finish things off, but it was pretty much all they created the entire game, to be honest. We had them locked down completely. We had a similar sort of performance in the next game against Cambridge. We really just shot into the lead in this game. 2 minutes and 40 seconds in, Lawton loops it to the back post, Agbenone then loops it to the back post, and Clark puts it in a header. Very odd goal, but was not complaining. And then in the 8th minute, ball comes to Archer. Bojang absolutely wallops it. Clark gets to the end of it and slots it past the keeper without too many issues. And then the game was very quiet after that up until the 60th minute, where Cambridge did get one back. Nice little ball outside the defender there. Miller runs onto it. He managed to rocket it past the keeper. Not a whole lot that Wright could have done in net there, but still a little bit annoying to concede. And, you know, we've only kept one clean sheet at this point. And the next game did not help things. So Walsall took their revenge on us very well after knocking them out the cup a few seasons ago. A 4-2 victory for them. And yeah, I didn't think we played too bad in this game, but if you look at our match ratings compared to Walsall's, Walsall just played us off the park. It was not even that close. Kinsella on the wing gave us all sorts of trouble again, as he did, as I'm pretty sure he did in the previous games against Walsall. But it didn't take long for the 19th minute. A long ball over. Mayer picks it up. And I mean, you can't let him score from this sort of angle, really, can you? But it was an absolutely drilled shot, so how much you could complain. But then Hughes puts in a beautiful free kick. Then in the 57th minute, a long ball goes over the top. Mayer picks it up again. Gets a little Rabona off the cross. And Wells puts it in from 2 feet out. All hope was pretty much lost at this point. But we did manage to get one back with a nice little ball over towards Lawton. Pops it in, and a deflected cross finds Wilden's head, and he managed to get one back for us. But then 5 minutes later, Fuchs puts the ball down wide, Kinsella running in, first time pass, Wells scores. And then Pritchard coming down the wing, puts in the ball to Agbenone, just passes it for Wilden to rocket it through the keeper once again. So nice little brace for him. But yeah, this was not our finest performance. As you can see, the first half was pretty dead and then just really sprung into life the second half. And, you know, while I'm obviously disappointed to be conceded 4 goals in a game, it's not that big of a surprise, realistically. But after that, we managed to bounce back with a 1-0 victory over Hartlepool. And from this came one of, you know, our classic sorts of goals. Centre-forward scores after a goalkeeper assist. Beautiful. Just quickly show you this one. It's just exactly what you expect, to be honest. Right with a big long goal kick, managed to split the defence in 2. Clark takes a touch and pops it past the keeper. No problem at all. 75th minute winner. The good times did not keep rolling though. We had a 2-1 loss to Boreham Wood up next. To be honest, the stats are pretty even, but it did really feel like Boreham Wood just passed us off the park this game. But we did manage to take an early lead after a long Pritchard ball to Lawton. Takes it around the keeper and a lovely bit of composure. Finds Clark in the middle to tap it in. And I really thought, you know, we're really onto it with this team. But then in the second half, ball out wide, and they managed to get it into, is it Diamond? Yeah, Diamond managed to pop it in the bottom corner before a lovely little passing play here. It just can't get the ball off them, and he managed to put Bowie through, and he pokes it past the keeper to win the game in the 85th minute. And yeah, you can see from the XG, we finished at a 0.97 XG, but we were at 0.89 by, 5 minutes into the game? And then did absolutely nothing the rest of the game. I kept messing with the system, changing the instructions, and just absolutely nothing seemed to work. A nice 3-0 victory over York City next. They did actually end the game with 10 men, but it was pretty much over by that point anyway. A brace for Clark in this game. He started off in the 8th minute after a long ball over from Mitchell, is it? Yeah. And he just managed to poke his head on it and loop it over the keeper. Added to his total in the 56th minute with another long ball from one keeper, and the other keeper just makes a right hash of it. Comes out, sort of looks at the ball, and then turns his back to it, leaving Clark with an open net, only in Football Manager. And then a nice third goal with the ball over, falls to Birchall, and, you know, yes, he does manage to score it, but I was a little bit annoyed. Wilden and Lawton both miles offside. If the keeper did get a touch, either of them wouldn't have been able to put it in. But irrelevant because Birchall got the goal. 1-0 loss to Barnet next. A little bit annoying to lose this game, but we didn't really show up. I mean, to be honest, neither team really showed up. There wasn't a whole lot of creativity on either side. For a game with 10 shots on target and both teams having over a 1 XG, there was not many highlights at all in this. But the goal came from Horgan going down the wing. He put it into Yeboah, who just absolutely rifles it past the keeper. If Wright had tried to stop that, he probably would have ended up in the net alongside it. But we managed to bounce back nicely with a 1-0 victory over Kidderminster Harriers. Just a quick late goal in this, 70th minute. It felt like it was a lot later. Maybe there wasn't a whole lot of highlights after it. XG would back that up. But yeah, Hamblin gets the ball back to Woodyard. Tanadre just gets the ball, just a looping pass over, manages to find Wheeldon, who pops it in the back of the net. Fantastically take a chance, and yes, as you can see, we did actually try our other formation in this one, and it's really paid off. We've been using this for the last few games. We then carried on using that formation against Torquay United. Nice little victory here, and an incredibly rare appearance of a Jack Bates goal from left back. This one started off with Wheeldon picking up the ball out wide. He manages to keep hold of it and get it into Clark to pop it in the top corner. Beautiful little finish there from him, and pass, to be honest. Exactly how you want the target man and the poacher to work. And the ball passing around the outside a bit. Bates managed to get a shot off. Keeper gets a hand to it, but it still manages to find its way into the net. Before, in the 69th minute, the tradition of goalkeeper howlers continued. Wright comes flying out for a ball, gets absolutely nowhere near it, and Iacofano? I've got no idea how to pronounce the name. Yassifano, maybe? Good old Joe here managed to score the goal. Fair play to him, but it was not enough. We then had a 3-0 victory over Barrow. This time we played Yeboah and Clark up front. I mean, Yeboah has been kicking off that he hasn't been playing much, but also he just didn't show up, so it's not a great sign, to be honest. This one started off in the 5th minute where Bobby Dunn picks up a ball, manages to put it over to Yeboah, round the side to Yeboah, and he just rockets it in the corner. Before we got possession in the 44th minute outside their area, Woodyard gets a nice ball over. Bojang basically takes it round the keeper, or at least wide of the keeper, to pop it in the open net. And then a Woodyard penalty in the second half managed to wrap things up and secure the 3 points. And then in the last game of the recap, we had a 1-0 victory over Fylde. Just quickly done this game in between the last 2 clips because I didn't want to spoil who our next opponents were. Although, it's not like it's a massive team, but trying to learn from past seasons' mistakes. But yeah, 1-0 victory. This one was relatively comfortable, although the goal was a little bit fortuitous, as has been so often the case this season. A long below from Wright. Gets flicked onto Clark, and the keeper just sort of makes a dive at absolutely nobody and allows Clark to put it into the back of the net, which I'm thrilled with, but it was a little bit of a strange decision. And so after that relatively good last month we've pretty much managed to fly back up the league after, a pretty mediocre start. And we're currently sat all the way up in 6th. I don't really quite understand that. Before that last Fylde game, we were down in 8th, I believe. So we have definitely jumped up a bit. But yeah, considering I was expecting to come back, I'd have been probably quite happy with 15th, let's say. And to be all the way up in 6th, I'm absolutely buzzing with that. So maybe a playoff push isn't going to be completely out of the question. But, obviously, same as last season, we'd be aiming for 2nd or 3rd at the very least. But yeah, like Ashley Clark, with his 13 goals so far, he has pretty much carried us. I am absolutely delighted with how things have been going. But anyway, we have got cup games to get you caught up on as well. So we got drawn up against Hereford in the FA Cup 4th qualifying round. And the first game, it looked like it was going incredibly well indeed. And then a little late flurry from them, and it kind of ruined our day. But yeah, started off in the 7th minute with Yaya Boyang putting a nice penalty away. And then he turned a provider here when he cut out a bad pass, puts it through to Wheeldon, who slots it past skip without problem right before half-time. And things were looking comfortable, but then in the 83rd minute, they get a nice little ball over the top. Hackford gets away from Jackson and smashes it past Jack. That's not with Jackson, it's Wright, but still. And then Glover scored a penalty in the 92nd minute to grab them a replay. It was a little bit heartbreaking, but on the other hand, it was good for the bank balance, I suppose. But to be honest, a replay wasn't too much of a problem. I mean, they brought us back to their ground and we promptly stamped our authority. I mean, it took until the 70th minute to get a goal, but once we got that goal, it was very much one-way traffic. They didn't do much the entire game, to be honest. But yeah, in the 70th minute, nice ball over to Birchall, and he holds it up quite nicely before he manages to find Clark in the middle to power it past the keeper. Then 12 or so minutes later, Mitchell throwing comes to Clark, passes it inside, and if you see Jack Morehouse approaching a ball like this on the edge of the area, you know what's going to happen. It's going to hit the back of the net at 200 miles an hour. And this was the first time that it didn't really happen. It was a relatively fast shot, but it didn't break the sound barrier like so many of his other attempts do. But then just at the end of the game, Birchall gets the ball and he pops it just inside the near post. Keeper didn't stand a chance, and a nice 3-0 victory put us through to the first round. And that actually brings us to today's game. We have been drawn against Oldham in the first round of the Emirates FA Cup. So Oldham are in League Two and are doing pretty well in League Two, so this could be a very tough game for us. I mean, Hereford gave us some trouble last month, and they're about where we are in the Vanarama Nationals North. So obviously they're the league below us, and now we've got to face someone who is flying in the league above us. So this could go badly, but fingers crossed it won't be the case. And okay, I think this is how we're going to be lining up for the game against Oldham. We've got James Wright in goal, Leo Hamblin left back, Shepherd and Jackson across central defence, Tanadre at right back, Woodyard in defensive mid as our ball-winning midfielder, Boyang Bazala, Dunn as a deep line playmaker, Birchall as a winger and support on the left, which I have changed just to like bring him back a little bit. It's sort of a change to be a little bit more defensive, being as Oldham are obviously a better side than us, but also this is basically his preferred role, you know, winger on support. So it's a bit of both, really. We've got Steve Lawton. We've got Steve Lawton on the right inside forward, as always, very attacking, very fast, and Ashley Clark up front as our poacher. The only change I am potentially thinking is the fact that Woodyard's got a very heavy match load. Means I don't know if he's going to really be able to manage that much of this game, but I think I might leave him on and we'll just bring on Marley Turnbull when required. I am a little nervous of how this is going to go, but hey, let's just jump into it. Apologies if my voice sounds a little bit off today. I was out pretty much all of yesterday and I can hear that it does not sound correct. Really have given you a lot of credit lately, so go out there and put on a worthy display. Everyone seems excited. Let's just go with that. Yeah, fuck it. Okay, Chelmsford Town in our standard 4-3-3, or back to our standard 4-3-3, after playing a lot of the 4-1-3-2 recently. Oldham Athletic are in a classic 4-4-2. Let's get into the match. How many people we got here? 1,511, I think that was. To witness a 50th second throw-in, get dispossessed back to us. Adam to Pike. So I thought he was going to shoot for a second, but no. Weird little passing play, but Hamblin managed to get it away. When it comes to Adam in midfield. Pike, Casey, long ball over, but Tanadra picks it up. Lawton gets dispossessed now, the ball's coming back over. Shepherd gets it away. We're like solid defensively here, but we're not quite getting rid of the danger. So just a cup of tea. Oh no, Dixon. Dixon gets a shot off, but Wright makes a good save, and I don't know who got it away. I want to say Shepherd, but it might not have been. It was a very scary start to the match there. Yeah, 1,511 fans here today. Could we get a chance maybe at some point? It would be nice just to, you know, see a highlight that wasn't 100% in our own half. Casey with the ball over. Dixon gets the under it. He's not going to mess this up again, is he? No, he's not. Oldham go 1-0 up. Ball back to Casey. Nice ball over the top. Shepherd can't get near it. Dixon controls it well and slots it past the keeper. Let's drop an encourage. Hopefully that gets the players up. I mean, everyone is buzzing about it, but I'm just not seeing those results on the pitch. Done. We're in their half. They're getting someone sent off. That's got to be a red card. Yes, off you go. Just double foots in from behind for no reason whatsoever. We are in this game now. They're playing a 4-4-1. Okay, I'm a little bit more excited now about this. I was very nervous. Let's do a shout. Let's do a demand more. Okay, most people are happy. Clark's not having a good time. Come on. Bobby Dunn's injured. So we've got Morehouse on the bench for this very reason. I think I'm going to leave them as they are, but I'm going to move Morehouse to more of an advanced playmaker. Just to sort of, you know, we've got more men on the pitch. We can be a bit more reckless with our attacks, I feel like. It looks like we're going to go to half-time at 1-0 down, which I'm not thrilled about, but we've still got a whole second half to go. They have just absolutely shut us down. Media's giving a lot of credit. Yeah, just come on, guys. You weren't that bad, but I believe you can do better. Everyone seems relatively happy with that. Do we need to make any changes? Might just go a bit more attacking because they've only got one man up front, and I don't think their wingers have done much yet. What are they? James and Gibson. No, they've been pretty mediocre. So I might even go like this to really like push up in the second half. Switch you to a deep line playmaker on support. Morehouse could just be an attacking midfielder on support, actually, just so I'm not going all in 100%. And yeah, I might give this a go. Yeah, fuck it. Why not? Let's go. Just want to throw a few people forward. We've got an extra man on there. We're closing them down. Surely it's got to work out okay for us. A Norman goal kick? Was that a free kick? I don't know which. It was the pike. Gibson running down the line, and he gets the ball in, but there's only one person there with 4 defenders. And now Bojan gets it to Clark, and is that another red card? They're down to 9 men on the pitch. They've had both strikers sent off. There is no way that we don't win this now. Come on. Let's go. Closing down. Okay, right. Come on. We need to get forward. Right, handling to Birchall, but they get the ball back. And they're coming out. James gets the ball out wide to Ferguson, but they've got basically no one up front, so we just need to really close this down is the problem. Jackson gets the ball back at Bojang. Crosses the ball over. Lawton's getting on the end of it. He's got it in the middle, and Clark can't quite get his boot to it. It comes out to the left side with James. Oh, he's messed it up, and he's passed it straight to Clark, who misses a one-on-one. Oh no, that would have been such a funny way to get back into the game, but now we've got a Morehouse corner. It's back post. Clark can't get on the end of it. He'll be a bit faster than that, Bojang. Come on. I'm going to give it another 15 or so, and then I think I might bring on a second striker in Wielden or someone. But ball comes over, no pressure whatsoever. Kavanagh puts it back up the field, but there's no one there. So we're just going very attacking, you know. Oh, no. Morehouse has got the ball and he's managed to score. Let's not go very attacking. That play materialised exactly as I was looking at the bottom left of the screen and not paying attention to what was happening up here. Is that just a weird ball over and Clark sort of just left it? Shepherd gets the ball here, pops it over. It's going to Clark. He just misses it completely and it just falls to Morehouse. Beautiful little reading of the play there from our old main man at the very least. Don't know if you'd still class him as that. So looking at our team, Clark has been having a very poor game. So let's bring on Wielden. We're going to move him as more of a target man on support, which means we can have Morehouse on attack. We've got these 3 streaming forward and Wielden holding the ball up for them. I think that makes sense to me. And with us being, with such a man advantage on the pitch, you would definitely expect this to work out okay for us. Comes out to Birchall on the wing. He gets it back to Woodyard. Go on, hit it. Gets it back into Birchall. Smashed it bottom corner. Is that onside? Yes, it was. Okay, we are now in control of this tie, which should be a no real surprise, means that they had 2 men sent off, but still. Just that pass back, I just thought this is such a waste of a play. But then Birchall still in loads of space on that far side. It must have been close for him being offside, because I can't see who's keeping him on exactly there. The pass is made there. Oh yeah, Kavanagh is just keeping him onside. Okay, I'm not gonna try and say the game's wrong now for helping me out. They've moved to a slightly more attacking formation, but are changing it back every 2 minutes. It's nice seeing 4-4-2 listed at the top. They're playing a 4-3-1. Now, what is that formation? That is insane. I've just paused it and now the audio stopped. Brilliant. Kavanagh with the ball over to Thomas. No, he can't run through the whole team. Okay, he very nearly did, and I think that came off the post, which was terrifying. Birchall, don't do anything silly. We just need to see this game out at this point realistically. I'm just going to give a focus. Does that work? I don't actually know when to use the focus trait, to be honest, but shout. You know what I'm talking about. Let's bring on one more sub just to kill off a bit more time. Woodyard can come off. He's been having a great game, but he was the one that was going to be struggling the most, so I'm giving him like a 3-minute rest at the end. 5 minutes. We've got 4 minutes of added time. We're in the 91st minute. We've got a throw in. Comes in to Birchall, but Norman collects it in goal. Can he create something here to get Oldham back into the game? Doesn't look like it. Jackson gets the ball back to right. We just need to not have some sort of defensive howler here and we should be okay. Nice ball over. Lawton's getting on. No, Morehouse is getting on the end of it. And he's slotted it past the keeper. and secures us passage to the second round of the FA Cup. Absolutely fantastic. I am pretty sure with this game we would not have had a chance to win this if they'd kept 11 men on the field, because we just couldn't get anywhere near the ball. And then the first highlight we got where we got out of our own half, they had someone sent off, and then not long later I think had another person sent off, and it was just plain sailing. They just can't create anything when you've got no attackers. Shepherd, nice battle back upfield. Wilden can't get the end of it, but Bojan gets it to Birchall. Can we get a fourth? Looking to play someone in there, but they're offside at this point. Hamblin also coming forward. Tries to hit one. It's deflected and falls to Boyang, who gets tackled. Not great, but the guys passed it up to their right winger, who doesn't exist. You've got Hamblin coming forward. Tries to get the ball into Birchall. He does. And it falls to Morehouse, and Morehouse nearly had his hat-trick. I'm not convinced Jack Morehouse has ever had a hat-trick before. Great tackle there from Hamblin. We get the ball upfield again to Wielden. Doesn't manage to get across it. What? Oh, he was offside. I thought that might have been a handball then. Okay, Morehouse lofts the ball over. We're just killing the last few seconds here. We have made it through to the next round. Nice ball. No, gets cut out. Is that full time? Come on, ref. We all know this game's over. Just blow the bloody whistle. There's got to be a highlight in this, surely. It's like no pass. Like every one of their clearances goes to our player. Every one of our clearances goes to their player. Okay, we've actually got the ball in their half-time. Oh, fucking hell. And then that's when it gets cut out. Oh, football manager doing football manager things. But either way, that is a fantastic victory for us. An 8.4 performance from Jack Morehouse, pretty much carrying us through. Birchall obviously chipping in with a goal as well from the left. A great little finish from him. But yeah, we are actually through to the next round. Let's go forward to the draw before we wrap up today's episode. So I know I said we were going to be going straight to the draw, but with a couple of other things to catch up on. Obviously, nice news item that was done really well there. You know, Wright thinks that I had an amazing team talk. We've got a new left back joining, just thrown in the middle of there. Bailey Clements, fullback. I'm not 100% sure if I've spoke about him yet or not, but left back who's just been released by Chesterfield in League 2. He's pretty good. He's one of those players that have got no stats that, you know, massively jump out at you as being amazing. But 10 crossing, 10 heading, 11 marking, 10 passing, 11 tackling, 10 teamwork. You know, every stat that he needs, he's got a 10 plus in. And that's more than good enough to be part of our team, I would say. The report says he's way better than Hamblin. Let me just double check that myself. I suppose that is way better. It's not like it's, you know, the guy is max stats or anything, but he's better at pretty much everything that Leo Hamblin is. And it basically means that Leo Hamblin will step back into more of a backup role for that left back position. And then we're going to be probably getting rid of Maguire finally, and maybe even Bates, but we might keep him around. Bailey Clements, welcome to the team. We've also received 41,000 for winning that game, which we've probably also had a decent amount of game. Oh, we're over 100k. We are nuts. Gate receipts have also got to be quite good. Yeah, 29,000 for this month already. You know, we played that game at our own ground, which is always less attendance than an away game. So maybe we can get a nice away match that we can win in the next round. Bobby Dunn is going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. That's a little bit annoying, but 3 to 4 weeks, not too bad. And okay, now we can finally go forward to the draw. Okay, so a very scary moment for us here. FA Cup second round draw. Who do our fans want us to get? First of all, Mansfield. 61% want us to play Mansfield, who are 10th in League 2. I can't help but think there's got to be some easier teams in there than that. Bolton Wanderers are second in League 1, and that's a 26% vote. So they've got a very nice stadium, though, I suppose. That would be a decent amount of money. And Burton Albion, third in League 2. Surely, you know, we've got Vanarama National League teams here. We've got Vanarama National North teams here. That would be the dream draw. It's not seeded, is it? I don't think it's seeded at this point. You can still just get an easy draw. Like a Tunbridge Angels or Kettering Town draw. That would be beautiful for us. But I don't know. Let's draw all teams and we'll see what fate has got in store for us. Bromley. That's actually brilliant. We've got a Bromley match. Who we've played before. Oh, didn't they knock us out before? Yeah, they knocked us out of the FA Trophy 5th round. That was that game that was incredibly boring, and there was one highlight, I think, the entire game, and it was just they scored quite early on, and there was not another highlight for the entire match, no matter what I did. So that's a little. We're going to get a little bit of cup tie vengeance there, hopefully. But we have also beat them in the league pretty recently, so we've already got revenge, I suppose. But yeah, so Bromley, it's another game at home, so we've got the home advantage. You'd expect them to bring a decent amount of fans to this. They're currently 22nd in the league, so they're having a terrible season. And this actually could mean that we're going to get into the third round of the FA Cup. That's absolutely terrifying to think of. There's going to be a couple of games here where the Vanarama National North or the Vanarama National League team gets through to the next round. And if that happens, we could get an incredibly easy third round draw, which I wouldn't be too thrilled about because I want my third round game to be against like a Premier League opposition or something realistically. That would help the club out so much financially. And I think I've got some contract promises for players of, not massive payouts, but like 3 or 4 grand if we reach the 4th or 5th round of the FA Cup, because I figured that's never going to happen. But we've had quite an easy run-in so far to get this far. I can't get too ahead of myself. That game is actually in like 4 weeks, 3 weeks? Yeah, 3 weeks. So I might actually just go forward to that. Or how about actually, we'll go forward. We'll do a double header next time. We'll go through these 4 matches. We'll play Bromley. And then we'll go forward to Chorley. Because Chorley, who you might remember won the playoffs last season, they beat South Shields in the final, they're actually destroying this league. Well, I say destroying, they're top. They're only top by a point. But still, they're doing so much. Like, we're absolutely flying this season compared to what I expected. And we dominated Chorley last season, and they've absolutely flown off the starting blocks. So, we'll come back. We'll do a double header. We'll do a Bromley game in the Cup. And then, if we get through, we'll do the Chorley game. Or if we lose, we'll do the Chorley game. If it's a replay, we'll probably just do the other replay match, because that will probably be like right here instead. But yeah, I think that's probably the best way to do things. But yeah, for today, at least, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, maybe leave a like or comment down below. It really does help out a great deal, and it means a hell of a lot to me as well. We'll be back in a couple of days with, 3 weeks worth of game time to get caught up on, and then a big FA Cup second round match against Bromley, for us to set up a date with one of the big boys in the league. So yeah, so 100% make sure you subscribe so you don't end up missing that, because this could be insane for the club. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.